everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk PMA. We're happy to be back finally with another podcast, recovering from some injuries and back from some vacations. It's been a long weekend, but we're happy to be back here with you guys. Mom, so how are you doing today?
I feel like that was all geared towards me. A little vacation, a little injury. Getting ready for the podcast today. I did a little bit too much. My thumb's hurting a little bit, but thumbs up. We're doing good.
Just another day in the life, right?
Just another day. It's really tests my mental toughness for sure to keep going sometimes because you're hurt. And yep. But I'm just plugging along and just doing the best I can.
Yeah.
Left hand.
Lefty. We got a lefty over here now.
Yeah. Not liking it too much, but it's okay. I'm getting there.
Good. Well, I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better. I know I had a super long weekend. We had a tournament this weekend. We had 4 teams in this one tournament. And I had games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I had probably like 12 games the whole weekend. So it was really long, watching the girls and watching the parents, and then just me as a coach, just going through the roller coaster of emotions and seeing the mental toughness really like come out and who is, who's pushing and who is struggling. It's very interesting to see.
So did you win? Did your teams win?
3 out of 4 teams won the entire tournament. And there's 4 age brackets. And so we almost swept the whole tournament.
That's awesome. So what did you notice this weekend? Like when you're watching the kids and the parents and just the whole atmosphere, is there anything that stood out that you thought, gosh, we could, how do they react to the kids?
Honestly, the parents did really well this weekend. I was impressed, especially with we're coming to a season's end right now. And so we had to tell a couple of our girls that they would be better off playing on one of our other teams instead of on the club team. And so we were expecting some not very happy parents to kind of come at us and have a conversation or, be angry with us or whatever it was. And that didn't actually happen. So that was honestly really cool to see the maturity, because from the beginning of the season till now, I know that they would have had very different responses to what's going on. So I was very impressed with all of the parents. I thought they all did a really good job, and just not really complaining about the playing time, and just supporting their kids and seeing that everybody's working hard together. And I mean, truly, that's all that matters.
So what do you think made that happen?
I coach a 5th and 6th grade team, and it's our higher level team. And they ended up going and playing with our 12U team this weekend. And I made it very well known this weekend that this is the 12U's tournament. There's only like 4 of the 12U that were actually there, though. And so that's why he had the 5th, 6th come and play with them. And I told them from the beginning, I said, this is 12U's tournament. We're just filling in the gaps. It's a really good opportunity for everyone to, learn and experience the atmosphere and the change of pace with the game, because it's a lot faster and a lot more challenging than what they're used to. And everyone took it really well. And I think it was because I was very honest with all of them and was like, just go and play. Don't worry about anything. Don't worry about your playing time. Don't worry about your mistakes. Just experience it. And then now you know what to expect in the future.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that communication with the kids and the parents makes a big difference? I mean, I know most of the time when we communicate, right, we get different results.
I think my honesty definitely had an impact for the whole weekend. I also do have very close relationship with the girls and the parents on that team specifically. I have a very close relationship with all of them. So we talk about a lot of different things all the time, and I'm always very straightforward and honest with them, and I think that makes it easier than the, "Oh, I don't know. Oh, that's just how it is," kind of thing. I think if I'm honest with them, then they would respect that way better than she's hiding from, like thinking that I'm hiding something from them when I'm really not.
Right. Well, and I think that's with anything, with even with us with the kids, us as parents talking with our kids, you always have that answer of why can't I do something? And it's you can't just say just because it's really not an answer. And once you give, even if it's not an answer that everyone's happy with, it's an answer that someone can process. And I think when we're able to communicate in a way that we can process what is happening instead of just being all in the unknown of it's just is what it is, and then we can really work through our thoughts of why, and okay, I can handle that and I can work to do something different if I want to.
Yeah. And I think that also having an understanding of where your kids' skills are actually at, and not like thinking your kid is better than they are, because truthfully, I mean, all the coaches, we all talk to each other about it all the time and just say like, all of you actually suck. You know what I mean? Like, yes, some are better than others, but none of you are to the point where it's like, phenomenal and like you're absolutely better than anybody else and you get to act that way. Like, nobody gets to act that way, and we don't treat anybody that way, because truthfully, you guys don't even know the littlest of things about basketball at this point. You're in anywhere from third to eighth grade, like you're just getting started, and it's only going to get more challenging from here. And so it's like, if the parents can understand that your kid's not that good, your kid's not an all-star, then it makes it a lot easier to be able to just like have them sit and also see them when they do go in. Oh, they did make a difference, or maybe this game they played a lot more and they actually scored, or whatever it was, they played good defense, or they actually were like a part of the team, and then the next game maybe they didn't, but at least you got to see them during the one game succeed and just have the experience. And truly, the experiences matters more than how they played, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, and it gives them something to talk to them about too. So it gives them something to help them, this is what I saw, or this is, you did a great job during your game, and this is what I talked to your coach about, or what we saw, and let's work on this. So coming together as that parent, athlete, coach team to, that full circle of creating that awesome athlete, because everyone's mentally on the same page.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very impressed genuinely this weekend with, I mean, not having anybody complain about playing time, at least that I heard of. I'm sure maybe some of our other coaches heard something or had someone say something, because there always is one. But at least this weekend, most of the parents, 90% of the parents, were all on the same page, and were just being supportive, and they were loud. They were so loud, because most of the weekend there was two courts, only two courts at the place that we were playing at. And most of the time we were both playing, like, the company I work for, we had two teams playing on each court. So it was like, always hoop code just going around everywhere. And so it was very loud all the time, and just the support of everybody, and just having the experience of getting better, where you're just getting better. We're just going to finish out the season strong, because that's all that matters.
Right. Well, that makes it more enjoyable for the kids, and they want to come back too. So that's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. I mean, my fifth, sixth team, we had a game on Friday, and then we had 3 games on Saturday, and then 2 games on Sunday. And they ended up going to the championship. And like, that's probably more games in a weekend than any of them have ever had, whether they got to play a lot or not. At least when they played outside of the tournament, because we had a couple games outside of it, they all played a lot, and I was very, very proud of them the whole weekend. But I was like, this is a really good opportunity because next season I'm not backing up. We're only going forward.
Right. And that's the only way you should go. So that's awesome. So Allie, this weekend, or you told me this week that you had one of your parents buy our workbook, Creating Mental Toughness. And you said that she was working on it with her daughter, right? Can you tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about that?
I haven't really heard too much, but she did buy one of our workbooks, and she was just telling me, like, the first day that I saw her after I gave it to her, I was like, "Did you look at it yet?" And she was like, "Yeah, I started to read through it." And then this weekend I was talking to her mom, and she's like, "Yeah, we actually were working on it together. They've only read the bio only so far, but they're doing it together." And I think that's really cool. We were having a pretty long conversation about that this morning, about this workbook, Creating Mental Toughness, is not really something you should work on by yourself. It's something that you need to work through with someone. It's kind of like therapy. You work through your thoughts with someone because it can be easier. It can help you guide better. And it's not something that you should just race through. Like, this is something you need to, like, take your time with. The mom and her daughter, I didn't even tell them that they should be working on it together, and they just did it anyways. And I think both of them could definitely benefit from it. I think everyone can benefit from it. But just from what I know of both of them, I think it can benefit them. And I don't want anyone to think that's a diss either when you say, "Oh, you need to work on your mental toughness." It's not like a bad thing. It's just like, maybe you need to focus on that more. Maybe you're too focused on the physicalness of a sport or life in general, or just whatever's going on around you, and not thinking enough about your thoughts, because your thoughts guide every action that you take. And they also can make, if you have a negative mindset, more negative things are going to keep happening than if you work through the negative and start thinking positively. More positive things will happen for you.
Right. Well, like, the guy I was talking to this morning, he runs the golf academy here in Washington. And he was saying, COVID really took a toll on a lot of kids. And just some of them, came out unscathed, and others just kind of really withdrew, and wondering how, our workbook would benefit them. And as we're talking through it, he's like, well, if they could have a certain thing so that they have an immediate action to write down their thoughts and write down what's happening. And that's when we really got to thinking and talking about doing it together, doing it, like, I'm teaching each section of the book to my son's golf team, and to see that they have to stop. And it's almost like a training. Once you get trained in that section of the workbook, and you start seeing how your thoughts affect you, then you can start seeing in any situation. So then you can have that immediate, if you want to go write it down, but to have someone sit with you while you're going through each section of the workbook and really defining what that means, and it helps you process a lot more, rather than that instant gratification of an app or whatever it is. So we really recommend, getting with us as mentors and coaches, or your parents, to go through each section of the workbook, so that you get trained on how to change your thoughts and what your thoughts are creating, so that you can have that better positive outlook.
Yeah. And I mean, that kind of just tells you guys exactly what we do have coming next. We have workshops that are coming up that we're going to start offering for everyone. You get the workbook, and you get one-on-one sessions with us. You'll get everything just broken down throughout the book, and ask as many questions as you want, and give us your experiences, and we can work through all the thoughts together, because if you just leave those thoughts unprocessed, they're just gonna sit there and they're just gonna get built up, and it's just gonna make everything kind of explode at one point. Like you'll have an explosion of thoughts and emotions. So if you just take some time and understand why you're doing what you're doing, and understanding that your mind is more powerful than anything else, it'll really help you get through all of that.
Yeah. And so I hope that, once the workbook starts getting shown and it really starts getting out there, that people aren't as scared of, oh, it's another workbook, something I have to write down all the time. It's really yes, it is that, but it's really taking control of your mind and how you want to address each area of your life that you're going through, and each obstacle, like, me breaking my thumb and having surgery. I could be sitting on the couch all day long. I don't have to work if I don't want to, but because I want to accomplish things and I don't want to sit and just do nothing, I have things that I want to accomplish. So taking those obstacles and changing that thought process a little bit is a huge defiant of who you're going to become and things you're going to accomplish.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we talk about this a lot, and we talk a lot about how this works for sports, but this also works for just life in general. Mental toughness is something that you're going to have throughout your entire life, because there's going to be jobs that just absolutely beat you to a pulp, school, family, friends, like just things that happen in your life, and it's always going to happen. It's never going to stop. And you can choose to either push through it and, see the light at the end of the tunnel, or you can choose to sit on the couch and have just let it control your life and constantly have a negative mindset to everything, when you don't have to be like that. So take this, work on it, whether you play sports or not. Like whether you play sports, whether you're involved in a club, whether you're do nothing, whatever it is as long as you're living, you should do it.
I mean, just knowing that we all have a choice to do whatever we want, and whatever our circumstance is, it doesn't have to control the bad parts of our life. We have a choice to dwell on it, or we have a choice to make it better. And it's just finding out how to make it better and what steps it takes to get better. And there's always a different path, and it's just a matter of choosing to take that path.
Yeah, definitely.
So when I had my conversation this morning with the golf coach, and we were talking about the book, and he said, there's that choice that parents take to be involved with their kids, or just drop them off and leave them to do what they're going to do, or they have the choice of staying and seeing what they're doing and being involved with their kids and understanding like their skills and what they need to work on, or they just leave them there for a babysitting, and the parents that are choosing to be involved with their kids are having so much more success, because they feel like they're being supported and they're not just there just to be there for themselves. And so, parents can look at it in that way of, really taking pride in being there for their kids. They're going to see a lot more success with their kids, and they're going to see a lot more mental toughness in general with their kids, because they're giving them the strength to have someone back them up. Yeah. And it's a huge difference than just feeling like you just have to do it by yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think sports are something that you should just throw at your kids. Like it shouldn't be something that you force your kids to do either. Like there's other ways to get exercise. You know what I mean? Like sports doesn't have to be it. And I completely agree. The parents or the kids that I work with and I have like good relationships with their parents because they're incredibly involved. They're at every practice, they're at every game, or at least like they're switching off. You know what I mean? Like they're working to be there, and then they're asking questions and wanting to like be friends with me so that it's easier to ask. And those are also the girls that are just the players that I see are more involved and are more like my core players, the ones that stay. Because every season we start with 15 to 20 kids on one team, and then we end with anywhere from 4 to 7, depending on the team. And it's sad to see that happen, because especially because they pay a pretty penny to be a part of these teams, and they're just letting it go to waste because a kid doesn't want to show up anymore. But did they want to show up in the first place? How did you support them? How, like, did you just say, oh, you don't want to show up, it's okay, we'll just stop, and you just let it happen? Or did you say, okay, we need to finish it out? Or how are you supporting it? How are you encouraging them? Because if you're like, I don't want to be there either, I wouldn't want to show up. You know what I mean?
You have to put the work in too. It's not, I mean, it is a two-way street. You as parents, us as parents have to put in almost just as much work as the kids, because we have to drive them, we have to pay for it, we have to support them. But is the reward at the end awesome? Yeah, it really is. And at the end of the day, we don't have our kids forever. And to come back and say, I was there for my kids, I went to everything that I could, I was their support whenever they needed me, and they grew up with that security and knowing that their parents were always there for them, and they can pass that on to their kids too. And even like you guys, your kids that you coach, you're able to have that relationship with the kids and the parents because you grew up that way, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I completely feel like if you guys wouldn't have been as involved in my sports, in my youth group, and everything else, I probably wouldn't have been as involved. I especially with like my youth group, I started to get a little bit more involved, and you were kind of trying to get involved, but like not like kind of wanted to stay out of it. and dad didn't want to be a part of it. Like he didn't really care, which is totally fine. But like I didn't always feel the need to be there or to go or to be involved with it because you guys didn't want to be there, so why would I want to be there? But you and I both became extremely extremely involved in it, and I wanted to be there, especially if it meant that I got to go on like a car ride with my mom, or go spend the weekend and just like have you as that support. I mean, we might not have spent the whole weekend together, but we got to have that time, and then I could tell you everything that happened, and then we talk through everything, and like just having that support, like you were just supporting me the whole time. And same thing with sports. Like I loved weekends when all three of us, me, you, and dad would travel to a game or something or a tournament and spend the whole weekend together. Like it was like my favorite weekends ever, and which was like every weekend. So, every weekend was like going, but I got to spend it with you guys, and I like seriously loved that a lot. And it made me want to keep going too. I mean, I never really thought about it like that then, but now I kind of think about it like that, and I would want to have the same kind of support and like show up to everything for my kids once that happens in the far distance.
far distance.
far in a time way far away. This one is enough for me.
Right.
This one's enough for me.
Yeah, and you don't even know, like for us, that was just part of what we did. because we grew up that way. Our parents did the same thing. They traveled and went to everything, that we did. So it was just kind of a natural thing. And so it's hard to see when parents aren't that involved or don't do that with their kids. And it's not putting judgment on them. It's just seeing that there's different ways. But also seeing how the results are so much different. The kids are, so much different, like their thought process are so much different when their parents weren't as involved and they were harder on themselves, or they didn't last in the sport, or just different things happened. They had more breakdowns, because they didn't have anyone to bounce off of. And so parents are a huge part of kids' mental stability when they're young, and even in college. I mean, I just watched something from the Ohio kid, this weekend, and how he was going through depression and anxiety, and mental health was a huge thing. And, so it's real. But if you don't have a support system, it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
And if you can be taught to work through your thought processes and why you're thinking the way you are, and to work through those, like we're teaching in our workbook, then we're giving you that tool to hopefully, when that moment comes that you're struggling, that it'll become easier.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. So I think the moral of the story is go get a workbook.
That is
Moral
absolutely.
of the story, go buy one. Go buy one of these.
And you can buy them on our website, letstalkpma.com, for sure.
It's all there. It's ready for you. If you want to be a good parent or an athlete or just a person with your mental health and your mental toughness, go get a book. Go get one. And, we would love to help you guys with anything. So leave us comments, leave us experiences. We want to hear them so we can grow and you can grow, and the athletic community can grow, and start, just highlighting mental health within sports, because it's tough. It's really tough. And I talked to one of my coworkers about it the other day. I was like, it just is never talked about. And he was like, you know what, you're right. I never really thought about it. No one really thinks about it, but it's really tough. So let's change the athletic community.
Absolutely. And reach out. I mean, you can reach us through our website as well. If you have questions or want one-on-one training or coaching through your mental toughness workbook or anything else that comes up, we are available to do one-on-one coaching, or even like for team group sessions too. We can do that for you as well. So letstalkpma.com. Get it all there.
It's linked down below. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, follow us on Instagram. Everything's also linked on there. It should all be here as well. And in the comments below as well, you guys can click on all of our links. And we hope you guys like our workbook, and just reach out if you guys need anything. Of course, we are here to just help you guys grow and get better. Okay, we will see you all next week. Thank you all for joining again. And we hope that you're growing your mental toughness. See you next week.